Greetings there, my fellow advisors. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Citadelum. Episode 3, Walled-In City. Alright, next up. Make haste slowly. So, big difference here is it's a big region map. It's still set on easy, but there's a bit more enemy presence. It's like double the enemy presence. Reach Prestige 4, discover 2 cities, win a battle, and produce armor. There's also, of course, like sandbox, if you ever want to just sandbox it too. But I want to get through some of the campaign at least first, and then at some point I can ask you if you want me to sandbox it. So now that you understand the sort of basics, I'm only going to really slow down to explain the game mechanics that we haven't interacted with, so that we go through the flow more quickly. So taking a look at the map here, we've got stone and iron in this spot. We're pretty close to the map's edge. But I could put a forum here and put my houses around here, exploiting the stone and iron. There's stone and iron right next to it. Yeah, let's exploit that stone and iron. I'm actually going to put my forum right there. Alright, reservoir will plop here. And then start with a whole bunch of patrician, or pleb housing. You certainly don't need to copy my, like, grid style, and there's ways to make cities look a lot more beautiful than what I'm doing. This is very, like, fast, efficient, and utilitarian. But certainly by no means the only method. So fire, repair, markets, stone, iron, and let's get wood. And that's all of our basic materials, all satisfied. And then lastly, food. Probably done this way because of the tutorial maps? Yeah. It makes it easy. You can definitely build it more aesthetically, but given that there's really no benefit unless I'm in sandbox to have something pretty, because it's just once you're done and you move on, I'm just trying to hit these quick. That's my main motivation. Oh, you know what? This granary is outside of the repair zone. I'm going to move it there. There. Now it's covered by repair and firefighting. Perfect. If you're wondering, your logging camps will eventually cut trees down fully. So if you place a logging camp where there aren't a lot of trees, they will deforest fully. But if really highly forested areas will sustain a logging camp basically near indefinitely. I just figured that was worth noting, whereas the deposits here are infinite. The iron and stone deposits are infinite. The amount of fish that you can get is infinite. So some resources are finite, like trees, but most resources are infinite, meaning that you can plan accordingly. Oh, you know what? I don't have a market. Oh, no, I do have a market. I just need to put more people in it. There we go. Okay. Let's get patricians. I like to push for patricians really early on. And the reason I like to push for patricians really early on is, without taxpayers, on harder maps, you go bankrupt pretty quickly. And you lose the ability to, like, defend yourself or to add to your population or any of that. There's really only so many plebeians that you'll need, right? Because once you have so many plebeians that they're unemployed, you will suffer unemployment penalties. Whereas patricians, it's like, the more patricians that you can support, the better, because the patricians are your taxpayers. So you can functionally have like an infinite amount of them, and they're just going to keep supporting you. So in this case, I'm going to do like a combined market for both, so that the market people can support both halves. But let's go ahead and put the tax office in. Cool. So this is when, maybe it's worth explaining. Your chance to get attacked on your home tile increases when you find enemy armies on the map tile and when you increase your prestige level. So one thing I do not do, because it's dumb, is to send your explorer out early. So the game wants me to discover 2 cities, but if I send my explorer out and I start finding enemy armies, it increases my enemy raid risk tremendously, where I'm in no position to defend myself at the moment. So I generally don't send my explorer out until I have a means to defend myself. If you did get attacked, if you're wondering what happens, the raiders will come and they will like destroy, you know, like 3 to 10 buildings and then leave. But rebuilding the buildings costs money. You know, people might die, infrastructure might get broken. So it's not game over if you're raided and have no way to defend yourself, unlike a game like Farthest Frontier where they just keep like ransacking your city. They do let up and they leave. They basically pillage and loot and leave. But it's pretty ill-advised to allow it to happen like that. Alright, so we are starting to get level 2 housing. The goal is to get prestige 4, so I'm going to need a certain amount of plebs and patricians. But now that we have plebs, let's start growing the melons again. And cabbage. And that will help with the unemployment. Food. They're going to want bath surfaces. And eventually tavern surfaces too, which I'll work towards. So let's see. We'll put a grape vineyard here. A winery here. And then that will support a tavern here. Pretty compressed design here, right? Like, raw resources, people, the footprint of this is really small. And that's actually something to work towards, because a very small footprint is going to be very easy to defend. If you have an expansive city, it's going to be much harder to defend, so I highly advise trying to keep it all pretty compressed and small, ideally, so that it's just easier to build walls around and build watchtowers and guardhouses and stuff like that. All right, the next requirement for the patricians is bread and fish. I think I am going to need to build more support for fish, but that's fine. And then we'll also improve the roads. So I'm going to have a granary here with fishmonger here. And then we'll need our second engineering and firefighting, which I can put one here and one here. All right. And then the plebs, or the patricians, also wanted bread. Put 2 bakeries here. Start filling it up with people. Alright, so patricians Want it to be prettier, but that's going to be a lot easier to do once my prestige level's higher because I have access to prettier things to put down. And then the plebs, same, just desirability. And that's, again, going to be easier to just wait on. Oh, this fire station is too physically far from the reservoir to work. So I'm going to move it up a bit. In fact, I'm just going to move the engineer post too. It'll look nicer. All right, there we go. So we increased our prestige level. And now it's going to be a lot easier for me to make things prettier. So all of these houses have met their desirability goals. For the, here, this is the easiest way to look. So it needs to be 25 plus desirability for the plebeian housing, and 25 plus here, so I need a little bit more work over yonder with the patricians. What is going on with this house? That house is uggles. Good enough. All right, perfect. Taking a look at the raw resources. We are breaking even on wheat, so let's increase the amount of people working in the wheat fields. Grapes were fine, melons were fine, cabbage were fine. Fish were breaking even. Well, fish fillets were breaking even, but fish we are in the positive. So I'm going to want another fishmonger, one more fisherman. And then let's start paving up everything nice, so that move speed is as high as possible. It's a little expensive. It's a lot of stone to do this, but in my opinion, it's ultimately worth it. All right. So because I'm prestige level 4, I am getting a little bit of an enemy raid risk. So it would also be wise for me to start working towards self-defense. Probably the best way to go about this is to set up a new warehouse district. But let's go ahead and start making stone, like cut stone and wood planks, so that I can build the facilities in order to defend myself. Pro Knight, thank you for the resub. Am I not growing onions and carrots? No, I'm not. Oh, man. I meant to. All right, let's fix that. So these buildings here, I'm actually going to just take a minute to move a whole bunch of stuff, because the my farms aren't serviceable, aren't in like firefighting zones. And instead of having to set up new firefighting zones, it's going to be easiest for me to just address it like this. So now we've physically separated the sort of like industry from the agriculture, which is going to be easier to manage as well. All right, so let's go get carrots and onions. And I'm even going to add some new pleb housing, just to fill up some of these roles. Because as soon as I start to get onions and carrots, we'll be able to level up the plebeian housing and get a lot more people moving in. So in order to defend myself, I want to make armor, bows, and swords. Shields are only used for centurions, which are an attack unit, not a defense unit. So, talking about that a little bit, and I'm sure the game will prompt tutorials about it, but the armies, so your infantry, your archers, your cavalry, and your centurions can only be deployed to attack out in the world. To defend your own cities, you need guardsmen, which is an entirely different unit. So yes, it's a little confusing because if you have a really large army but you get attacked at home, you can't use your really large army to defend yourself. Which might feel a little unrealistic, but like, just the way it is. It's also like kind of the way, for instance, America works, right? Like if there was ever a problem at home, you would use the National Guard. You wouldn't deploy your army, your navy, your air force, or your marines to defend domestic things. That's not really how it works here in America. Granted, if we were invaded, maybe that would change, but like, whatever. Give the game a little leeway. Okay, so all the requirements for the prison housing has been met, except for a theater, milk, and eggs, and I'll work on that once the plebeian housing levels up. Oh, there's been a murder. I don't like that. So, I'm going to start to set up the production for swords, for bows, and for, armor. And swords, bows, and armor are what you need in order to, make guardsmen. Alright, so the plebeian housing is now leveling up. Good. So I'm going to have, increased, workforce. So here's my armor workshop, my bow workshop, and my swordsmith. And then coupled with that, we're going to want a recruits barracks and a guardsman training facility. Now, the crime that we're having here, one way to fix that is to set up guard posts within your city to act as police. There's one other resource that I'm missing in order to get guardsmen, which is pork. So I'm going to build a pig farm, place it here, and then put a butchery. I'll put a butchery here. Also, legions weren't allowed to be close to Rome. Yeah, that's fair. Well, the legions were, like, not necessarily loyal to the emperor. They were loyal to the senators that deployed them. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that your legions would not be allowed near the capital. Oh, here's the makeover. Nice. So now we have a pig farm and a butcher. And with all of that, I'll be able to start training guardsmen. So I'm going to train 4 guardsmen to start. And then in the defense tab here, we have guard posts, which they patrol the street, detect criminals and attackers, and it needs guards to function, and watchtowers, which they will be able to do the same thing, but they shoot down from them. So maybe what I'll do is I will try to wall in my city with pretty tight walls. I'm just nearly out of stone. But the concept here is to put guardsmen on the walls so that they can attack invaders and also police citizens. I'll put a guard post here and tell 2 guards to work in that spot. And then I'm going to put a guard post here. I like to, when possible, when I have a small footprint, to overlap my guard posts so that if, like, raiders are attacking this guard post, the other guard post can shoot at them, right? And that way you can, like, effectively double your DPS. Of course, it does make it more expensive, but, you know, that's just how I like to do it. Now, these guard posts fall just outside of the engineer post here, so I might want to adjust the engineer post to be on... Oh, man, there's not really going to be a good spot. I'm going to move the market here. The engineer post in the void. That way it covers the outer walls. Because you're going to want your your walls covered by engineer posts. I'm also running into a cut stone shortage. So I'm going to set up another stone cutter, maxing out the amount of people working in it, so that I have a lot more stone to work with, because I'm burning through my stone brick quite a bit. By building all the defenses. Now, it's not necessarily a requirement for this tutorial to build the defenses first. I just think it's wise, so that when you get attacked, you don't get smoked. Alright, so I'll put another watchtower here. Might as well connect the roads here, north and south. Put 2 guards in there, and train 2 new guards from the guards building. I'm actually going to train 6 guards. I'm just going to get ahead of the requirement. And also, these guards and their sphere of influence overlap the cities, which will decrease crime. So that the crime bar here in the people's favor will start to go down. I have a lot of unemployed plebeians, which also is going to cause some crime. So working towards that will be beneficial as well. So I'm just taking a look at any of the resource shortages that I might have and solve those shortages with more plebeian workforce. One thing I want to start doing is growing medicinal herbs. Done. Let's put 2 people in that. And then maybe even more cut stone, as crazy as that might sound. Because cut stone is also the primary resource that goes into temples. And soon, the gods are going to be really pissed with me at, like, not doing the thing that they want me to do. So, you know, getting ahead of that requirement and building temples to appease them would be wise. Alright, I am also running out of cut planks. Put a guard here. And all those murders that you see will go away in time as we increase the presence of guardsmen around. And then for the inside of the map, you can also put guard posts. So it might be wise, because I don't really have coverage in this area, to put a guard post here and put 2 guards in there. And the other advantage is if there's ever a breach to the walls and invaders get, like, within the heart of the city, these guards will be activated and defend as well. So it's not just for police force, they will also kill invaders, which is pretty good. So because of the water, we really only need a wall here, because the invaders won't pass over water. So a wall here, and then this wall to meet up with, like, that edge. Or to just come down. I'll probably have it come down so that I don't have more, a need for that many more guards. Keeping the footprint as small as possible, just to fulfill the requirements of this tutorial. So you get the idea. Shattenangle, thank you for the resub. Or the sub, rather. Prestige level keeps going up, but because I haven't really been exploring anything, I don't have the threat of being attacked quite high just yet. What is going on here? Why isn't this not being maintained? I think the engineer post is probably overwhelmed, so I'm going to increase the amount of engineers so that these buildings don't fall into ruin. And I'll just keep laying out guard towers. You can also incorporate gates. For trade, you're like technically required to have gates, but like realistically, the game doesn't really care if you have gates or not. But there's a gate between two towers. I think that's that'll work. And I almost have everything walled up. And then once it's all walled up, I will send my explorers to go explore, and we'll have the capacity to be able to defend ourselves while also exploring. So if you mouse over jobs for the defense jobs, I can see that there's currently 7 open jobs for guardsmen, so I just trained 7 guardsmen. So it's a way to like match supply and demand of guards. And then of course there's the spit of land here in the south, and that's all that's required. Is this covered by an engineer post? It almost fully is. So I'll put one more engineer post here. Two guard towers, and that should do it. I don't even think you really need a gate, truthfully. It's more, in my opinion, of like an aesthetic choice rather than like a functional one. So I have a gate here, but like, I don't think the game cares whether you have gates or not. And the last thing I want to do is to put guard tents, filling in any of the gaps of law and order coverage. So that's 4 more guards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all the guards that I am going to need to be able to secure my perimeter. And I think just for the aesthetics, I'll also put a gate down here. Just looks nice. Alright, so we have a protected insular town. Good. I almost have all of my armor production done. And then I am going to want to level up my my cities a bit more. So I'm providing the doctor office that the plebeians want. And then I'm also going to build the theater that the patricians want. And the theater, is you may have been... you might be able to tell, has a massive sphere of influence, so it's really easy to have a big theater. And then the theater, I'm also going to pair it with an actor school. So an actor school allows you to host plays. So in the acting school, I will hire 2 actors, and once those actors are fully trained, we can actually have plays. And this satisfies the gladiators, races, and theaters requirement up in the people's favor. The other thing that the people's favors want is religious festivals. So I'm going to build a temple to... well, let's do Jupiter. Temple to Jupiter here. And to do a big old festival to increase favor. So just having a bunch of guards around your city isn't enough, right? You're also going to want... you know, to supply them with entertainment and religion and all that. The other thing you might be able to tell is Pluto, Apollo, Ceres, Mars, and Minerva are all about to rebel. I think for the sake of education, I am going to allow one of them to get... actually, I'm going to allow them to get super pissed off. But I also wanted to demonstrate that if you... once one of the gods gets upset, it kind of resets the threat of all the other gods. But I also wanted to show that you can sacrifice pigs to appease the gods, and it's highly effective. So I'm going to build the temples, like each god a temple. But I'm also going to intentionally, just so that you can see the penalties, allow one to go berserk. Because I haven't done that yet, and it would be a useful thing to show. So here's my little temple district. Let's add some roads. Done. So we're letting one of the gods go berserk. I don't know which one it will be, but I'll suffer their wrath soon. So the next things to supply here is eggs, milk. Eggs, milk. So where is my granaries? I'm going to build a new granary here and do 2 chicken coops and 2 dairy farms. And that will help to keep the unemployed plebs employed so that they aren't pissed at me for any reason. All of the guard... Oh, actually, there's one job... Oh, yeah, okay. As soon as that guard is done being trained, all of the guards' postings will be filled. Oh, I don't have a fire station over here. That would be why I have regular fires in this area. Fixed. Let's take a look. So, engineer post... Yeah, it covers... my entire city, except for this fishing port. Can I move you, like, here? Okay. Now the entire city is covered by engineers. And the entire city is covered by firefighting, except for some of the walls up here. So... I'm going to move the tax office here and put a fire station here. And that will solve the lack of fire coverage in the north. And I'll also put a fire station here. I don't think it will need it. Like, walls don't burn, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Actually, I don't even need this well. It's close enough to the reservoir. Alright. One of the gods is about to go berserk for educational purposes. Who's it gonna be? I'm waiting. And then while I wait, looks like we're not making enough wheat per day. And then what else? Grapes, we are not making enough of, so I'll put another person in the orchard. Melons is good, onions is good, cabbage is close to breaking even, bread is fine, fish fillet is fine, pork steak is excessive, carrots are fine, fish is fine, pigs is fine, milk and eggs are fine. Okay, so everything is more or less balanced now. Roy, thank you for the resub. Cheers. And now that I have defenses, let's start sending the explorer out to explore. And look for a 2 cities and 1 fight to win. So speaking of the fight to win, I also should probably gear up to get ready for that fight. So I'm adding in a infantry training building, a archer training building, a cavalry training building, a centurion training building, and then I also need a shield manufacturing. This is like laid out in the most messy way possible, so sorry if it bothers you. And then if we take a look at the jobs tab, let's max out the granary. I still have 3 unemployed people. Max out the market. And we're good. Everyone has jobs. Okay, here we go. So, Apollo is pissed off, and he's going to steal food from people's homes. So he jumps from house to house, nuking all the food that was stored in the house. As a result, you can see that my reputation with all the gods is now pacified. And he hit about 5 houses before he, pissed off. Which is funny, because I literally just got Bacchus's cup that I could have offered him to appease him, but, it's too late. So I'll give that to Ceres because he just rampaged me. And I'm still a little salty about that. So in terms of the Foreign Legion that I want to field, I am going to train 20 infantry, 20 archers, 20 cavalry, and 4 centurions. So centurions are a bit different than the other units in that they have a sphere of influence. They're basically like higher level units. They have a sphere of influence that buffs units around them, but you don't need as many. And they don't enter the battle in formations either. All right, I'm going to max out the tax office, and I have 4 more unemployed people. Max out the guard tower, or watchtower. I had one person not working in the watchtower, and then put some more weapon makers. Yeah, we found another city. So that's discover 1 of 2 cities. Done. Now, one way to get a whole bunch of this is weird. Why does it say no recruits available for training, but my recruits barracks is full? Oh, they're being trained elsewhere. The god for armies would be Mars. So let's go to Mars's temple and do a big old celebration for him, while also sacrificing some pigs, getting his favor, and then clicking on him so that he gives us free units. So he's gonna pop up around and like bless these training facilities, putting people in them magically. I'm just gonna say magically because it is a little magic. So where'd the people come from? I don't know. They just showed up. We have a bunch of unemployment, and I'm just going to put a lot of people in the fire stations and doctor's offices. I don't really care about balancing it wisely. All right. So we're still looking for one more city and a battle to win. Oh, they're bored and want some entertainment. So here we go. Now that I have 2 trained actors, in the theater, I can select 2 trained actors and celebrate an event. So take a look at gladiators, races, and theater. See that red face? Boom. Now it's about half filled. We can also raise worker wages and lower patrician taxes. I'm still in the net positive, albeit barely. But that's going to keep people a lot happier. And if I wanted to even make more money, all I would need to do is to make the patrician area a little bit more attractive, leveling up their houses like this. And now they're going to pay more taxes, and now I'm really in the net positive, despite the fact that they have the lowest tax rate possible. Their next requirements is wine and clothing. I'm not going to try to like level up their houses anymore. I think it's high enough. And there we go. We have discovered the second city. So all I need to do is to win a battle. So now I'm just exploring the map to try to find someone to kill, essentially. There's something weird going on with this recruits barracks, so I'm gonna like blow it up and rebuild it. The game keeps saying I'll have recruits to... No recruits for training? Okay, now I do. Yeah, for whatever reason, the recruits here were like mustering, but they weren't actually being trained into units. I don't know why, but blowing it up and redoing it seemed to work. Another relic. Cupid's bow and arrows. I'm going to give that to Mars. And then my explorer has died. So there's 24 archers and 18 cavalry that killed my explorer. So now I know this is the battle I'm going to win. So I need to amass the forces in order to deal with that. And perfect. I just got a bow that I gave to Mars, and I'm going to tell Mars to train me up some units. So here's what I'm saying about enemy attack risk. And I think it's probably in your best interest to probably see a raid before I win this scenario. So because of my prestige and because I've found an enemy army, my attack risk has jumped from 20% to 50%, meaning that I'm very likely to get attacked here in my home tile, which is like a good thing because I want to demonstrate it. And I'll just keep making Mars happy because I need more troops. So putting celebrations together for Mars over and over and over helps me get troops quick, because he goes around and he just like sticks homunculuses into positions. I have a pretty big army now, way bigger than their army, so I could start mustering if I wanted to. I'm just waiting to get attacked. But what I'll do is I'll muster my 72 troops at Scylla. And any more troops that I get, I can just reinforce and send new troops in. I was sort of hoping to get attacked here because I went to all the effort of like setting up watchtowers and everything. So I'll be patient. But if they don't end up attacking me, well, one other thing that I could do to get them to attack me is to raise my prestige. So let's increase the quality of the plebeian housing to encourage attacks. Kind of odd. Weird flex, but okay, right? The problem is I don't really have any, like, meaningful jobs for these new plebeians that are, like, coming in to fill the housing. But, yeah, whatever. The plebeians want a school. There's, like, no space to put a school. You know what? I'm gonna blow your house up. Sorry, pal. I don't need those extra houses anymore, but I do need the space for a school. The threshold is 55% now. So some of these houses are 55%, but not all of them. So let's see. There we go. And 100% is as high as it gets. So once you're at 100%, it's like maximum of attractiveness. And you have won the game. Oh, finally, we're getting attacked at home. All right, so here we go. We have two armies from the south, and my guards are shooting them down. And then one army from the northwest, and guards are shooting them as well. So the attackers are going to be trying to break in through the walls, and my guardsmen are defending their attacks. So if they breach a wall, the guards will then go down to street level and fight them. And one guard is worth more than the barbarians that are attacking. So, like, these guards are still firing on these enemies while the guardsmen in this tower deployed to the street. And I think I lost one guardsman in my southern gate. And no guardsmen in my northern gate. So I only need to train one more guardsman. So despite getting attacked by 34 enemies? How many it was? 32 enemies? I only lost one guard. And then we just go to these walls and rebuild them. Wall 1, 2, 3, and 4. Done. Alright, well now that I've shown you a base defense, let's not piss off Pluto. And then army, commit to a fight. So I'm going to try to use a little bit more tactics to this fight than previous. So they have cavalry and archers. The cavalry are going to move faster to me than the archers will, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set all my infantry and archers here, waiting for their cavalry. Then I'm going to have my cavalry over in the side here with 2 centurions per group. These guys that I just deployed, you know what? I'm going to tell them to defend it first. I'm going to tell everyone to defend rather than to advance. And then hit start. And the idea that I have is I want to engage their cavalry and then ambush their archers within the cavalry. Like,
without question. Yes. By your command.
Like that.
Understood. Yes.
So now my cavalry are rushing their archers. I generally find enemy archers to be the most combat effective. So if you can neutralize their archers with like fast moving cavalry, that's kind of ideal.
Ready to march.
And let's see how I did in the after action report. I feel like this one, because I focused on more tactics, went pretty well. I lost 1 cavalry, and they lost, what, 42 units? Get pwned! Next mission. Thank you for tuning in to Citadelum, which originally streamed live on Twitch October 29th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Roman citizens.